Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, back in studio with my co-host, Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, kind of excited today. We're talking basketball, and when you have two teams advancing to the state tournament, I think you've got to be excited about that.
Very excited. Doesn't happen a whole lot. It has happened before, but it's been a few years. But the drought is over. 2023, we've got two going to the Glass House. Almost had three with one on the girls' side. But anytime you can get two in from your school system, I think that is a heck of an accomplishment. All starts with leadership, I would think, right? It trickles down.
Sure.
So the district athletic director.
No, I was going to start at the school.
So, yeah, man, that's awesome. Excited to talk about it.
Me too. Obviously, we'll talk about both of these teams, Independence boys, Fairview boys. Really excited. Independence going back for the first time since 2017, and Fairview the first time ever.
First time ever. Lots of firsts. Hey, Trey McCoy, he texted me. He said, I'm so tired of hearing Coach Joins talk about Fairview Wrestling and Bubba Derrick. We got to punch our ticket. He didn't say that, but maybe, And you keep talking about all the firsts, and here's just another one. It was just a matter of time. Fairview punches their ticket. They broke through. We'll get to that too. Something happened a bit ago. Didn't think this is the way they were going to go about doing it, but they've done it. So, yeah, man, Fairview is just on the rise and everything.
They really are, and it's exciting. Let's start with Independence.
Okay.
Independence with a 46-42 win over Green Hill. And let's just jump right into it, Jim. We mentioned first time advancing since 2017. They had a win. Greg Glass and his squad, Grayson Murphy, great run they made in the postseason, with a win over Mount Juliet, coached by Troy Allen, who was also and is the coach of Green Hill.
Green Hill, that's right.
So there's a connection.
They know them well. Both times the game was at Independence.
Right.
And, so Coach Allen, one of the it's funny how things sneak up on you, but he's now been doing it 26 years, over 500 wins. So how many do you have? You're 300 plus, right?
Nobody cares.
Okay. You've got a lot. 500 wins.
500 is a lot.
Is a lot, right? A lot.
A lot.
So, heck of a coach. Pretty neat that's how it happened. You're right. Grayson Murphy was running the show then. Coach Greg Glass. There were the usual attendees in the stands that night. It was a great atmosphere. The Indy Nation showed out. The Indy Nation showed out again last night. But what I took from it is this, and you know better than anybody because you coached against them at Franklin and at Beach.
Correct.
Gosh knows how many times at Beach. You beat a Green Hill any Troy Allen coach team, whether it be Hillsboro, Mount Juliet, or Green Hill, in the sectionals, 46-42. A lot of people think Independence is, they like to shoot the threes and they like to run and they're the run and shoot and they're kind of the glitz and the glam. They come in their gold blazers, and they are. But let me tell you something. That's a tough basketball team to beat Green Hill 46-42 in the sectionals. And I think that starts with their coach.
Very well said. And we're just so proud of not only Indy, but, the guy in charge, Mark Wilkins. Second year on the job.
31-4 so far this season.
A whole bunch of wins and not many losses.
But still, the reason I noticed from being around you guys for so long, scout. Maybe in football we know that as watching film or whatever, but the scout. A lot of times in basketball they go in person. Coach Allen had who knows how many tapes on this year's Independence team, had probably scouted him before, had seen him, and so everything was designed around.
Played him too.
Had played him, lost, but it kept it close. Everything was designed to slow it down, limit their opportunities, hold the ball, keep that thing under 50 points. I'm willing to bet Coach Allen and his staff thought that if it is under 50 points, they win. Again, 46-42. We'll do that if we have to. They've shown it. That's not how Independence wants to play. But to do that, that is tough. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree. Great atmosphere. I think that was a factor.
Yes.
I think I saw something like 32 home or games and 25 the home team won. One of the 7 we were happy about.
That's
because
right.
It was Fairview on
one
the
of the
road.
7. That's right.
32. This was a low-scoring game.
Yes.
Indy grabbed an early lead. Green Hill battles back. It's like 21-19 at the half. Going to the fourth quarter, it's 32-all, and it's one quarter, unless you go to overtime, for the Glass House. And there were so many possessions where nobody scored. It was just back and forth and stops and stops and stops. And Independence just made the right plays at the right time. And here's what's interesting. Again, another quality of a Troy Allen team. They weren't going to let Jet beat them. Jet had 5 points. Now, he had some shots I think he would say, man, I'd like to have made those. But they did a great job on him. But then you start off, you got the junior, Braden Buck, who it happened to be his 17th birthday.
Very cool.
The Indy crowd
Happy
singing.
birthday.
They're singing happy birthday to him. What's he do? 3 threes in just a matter of minutes at the end of the first, beginning of the second. I credit Coach Wilkins and that team saying, hey, Braden, you can shoot it. Let it fly. You're open. Matthew Witt steps up and gets 15 points. And I'm going to tell you, Tylen Lewis had 11. Is anyone playing any better than Tylen Lewis right now? I want to give his dad a shout out. Saw him at the game, said he enjoys the show. So, Mr. Lewis, we appreciate you for doing that. But I'm telling you, Tylen, a lot of nights, if you're talking about everything, the handling the ball, the defending, the being able to score, he's one of the best players on the floor every night they suit up.
Oh, yeah. Ever since February's clicked over, he's put it into another gear. He's just a sophomore.
Sophomore.
On the all-hair team. Maybe the captain of the all-hair team.
Definitely on the all-hair team.
And but no, he is. He's playing really, really well. And you can see the confidence growing with him. But that's the thing I love about him. He's so well-rounded. He's, a lot of nights he's guarding their best player. He's a great defender. And Matthew Witt had another big night, 15 points. So, they only scored 46. Well, there's 26 of them right there.
Yeah.
And Coach Allen talked a lot about it in the paper about what a matchup problem Matthew Witt is. But, yeah, man, hey, Jet, 5 points, says all the right things, great teammate. And I'm sure he did a lot of other things that don't show up in there. But he's under his average by about 17 points. But you're right. If you know anything, if you knew anything about a Troy Allen team, you knew that's what they were going to do. They were going to take him away, and they took him away in the scoring. They didn't take him away of the overall game. And you mentioned end of the third quarter, it's tied up. They just had to win those last 8 minutes. They did it, and then went on a 9-0 run to close it out.
Nice little run, and you have a guy like Josh Owens, the senior, tough, kind of a glue guy. Took a big charge during that stretch, made some free throws. Total team effort. And when you look at Independence, and we're going to look at their draw here, it's not over yet.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, we're glad to go, and that's the end of it. Obviously, when you end the season at the state tournament, you're excited. No matter what happens, they'll be pleased.
That's right.
But they're not going up there just to check out the Glass House. They're up there to play, which leads us to the bracket. Let's take a look at it here. So on Tuesday night, top of the bracket, Memphis-Overton versus McMinn County. Sevier County versus Hillsboro. Hillsboro knocks off Hendersonville. Proud of Hillsboro for that, so congratulations to Coach DeWeat and his squad. Then on the bottom of the bracket, you've got Blackman High School and Indy, 10 o'clock Wednesday morning on March 15th. And then Memphis East, Dobbins-Bennett, the defending state champion down there. I like the Indy draw. Blackman 21-11 overall. 2-6 in district play. They were in like the 4 or 5 game.
Yeah.
First round of the tournament. So Coach Wortman, a lot like Coach Allen, probably going to focus on not letting Jet beat them. But, hey, if they want to try to key on him, there's some other Indy guys who can do it. And good luck keeping Jet down, too.
That's right. Some of those shots, he's not normally going to miss. Now, they made it hard on him. Here's what I like, though. You mentioned Blackman's going to be very similar to Green Hill. Green Hill is very similar to Hillsboro. Who beat them in the region championship? the Independence Eagles, right? This is going to be the third game in a row like this. They've seen this. They're getting used to it. Unfortunately, it's just going to be one more game like that. If they can win that one, then we probably go back to the 70s or 80s. So, this is not, like we said, this is not the type of game that they like to play, but it's going to be the third time in a row that they've done it. They're used to it. They're prepared for it. And won't Green Hill and Blackman be very similar?
Very similar.
Yeah.
In fact, they played during the year. Green Hill losing to Blackman 33-27.
Okay, real quick. I read where the Indy student section was chanting, "This is boring."
Yes.
What would they have been doing in that?
Oh, goodness. Well, and it was funny. I was talking to Coach Allen about the time that game happened, and he said, we played a game against Blackman that set basketball back about 20 years. 33-27. Green Hill had beaten them early in the year. This was a big-time scoring game, 39-44. And then they also played Hillsboro, 49-44. So Coach Workman's played a tough schedule, beat Ravenwood before. I mean, there's some kind of comparable teams and games. Indy's the favorite in this game. They're the favorite in this game, but you got to go out and do it, playing on that big stage. And one thing about Coach Workman and his squad, they've been there a little bit. They have. They're used to it.
He's done a great job with his scheduling. Coach Workman has been doing it a long time. He's definitely a Hall of Fame coach. And sometimes he's intimidating. He can intimidate younger coaches. That's fair, right?
I'm ready for him to pack his stuff up. Coach Workman, it's been fun, but
see ya.
Plastic bin time for you, my friend.
I think they are. Pack it up. Go down to Florida, visit Tindy down in Florida on spring break.
We hope you make it back.
We're going to make sure you get there in time. But I think Coach Wilkins is very, he's only been coaching 8 years, confident in himself, confident in his team. I think they're the favorite.
I think it's Indy DB in the semis. Dobbins Bennett.
Don't know anything about East other than Penny's not there anymore, and
right.
The trophies have gone back and forth between Donaldson and back, Hermitage and back. Who knows? Hey, all right, but I want to know from the coach. I know I like asking these questions. I know sometimes you don't like to do it, but I want to know from the coach. And I think I know your answer. It is what it is. Doesn't really matter. 10 o'clock a.m. Did you like that? Not like that?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't like 10. The one thing that does happen here, if you get the daytime game here, all the students will go. We let them out of school. But the negative is we're on spring break. So their crowd could be a little less than what it normally is. But if that's a school day, 10 o'clock, I know Brentwood always loved it. I'd rather play a normal kind of time, but it does impact the crowd, so to speak. But based on being on spring break, and I don't like it.
Hey,
but if we played it and I was coaching, I'd be trying to sell it.
That's right. Oh, yeah. You'd have a spin on it.
When we win this game, we don't play till Friday. And
get our legs back.
That's right, whatever you say. But it's the same for both squads. I mean, it's what it is. Blackman being closer, I hadn't talked to Coach Wilkins about this, but they're probably, I'm assuming, going to drive back and forth, sleep in their own bed. So they got to leave a little bit earlier than obviously Blackman. Of course, if I know Coach Workman, he'll have them in there stretching and going over game film and doing something at like 5:30 a.m.
Hey, okay, so I want to know another question inside the headset. So 10 a.m. game time, that means you probably need to get up about normal like school. Monday and Tuesday will be spring break. How close to a regular routine do you handle Monday and Tuesday?
I'm going to guess they practice earlier just to kind of get in that mode and then to rest and do those things. But I'm going to guess at least the day before it ends up being a little bit earlier. That way you've got more time and you're used to getting up. Because once you're out, being out of school will mess up a practice or a game quicker than anything. But I do think here, because we have such ability and willingness to get places and to get to practice and don't have to go pick people up, and we generally can, I think it can be a little more routine for us.
Yeah.
And we start school so early.
Right.
So I think it'll be fine.
So you like the draw, Memphis East, Dobbins Bennett. I know we'll do it later, but it sounds to me like you're going with Dobbins Bennett. Last time I made fun of Dobbins Bennett, it was in bowling, and they made me pay for it. So I'll keep that in the back of my mind.
Well, bottom line, let's just do it now. It's Indy Hillsboro on the state championship.
Indy Hillsboro.
in the state championship. I think Hillsboro's going to take care of Sevier County. And then I think it's Overton over McMinn. Then I think it's Hillsboro over Overton.
And that would have been, will that be the fourth time
That won.
that those two faced? If Hillsboro and Indy make it.
No, they were different districts.
Oh, that's right. They met in the region. So just the second.
Second time.
Yeah, okay.
They'd been kind of lined up all year, people thinking they were going to play.
Hey, man,
And
I would take that right now.
I'd take it right now. And you know what? That'd be the best two teams. I mean, according to the polls.
Correct.
I know the polls aren't perfect, but that'd be kind of cool.
Not being, well, let's talk about that top half real quick. Okay. Hey, you can only beat the teams that you have in front of you, right? That's all you can do. So I'm not knocking it. Is it safe to say that if we were still in three classes,
These teams wouldn't be in it.
McMinn County and Sevier County would not be here?
These teams wouldn't be in it.
Do you know?
Now, nothing against our teams, because I think our teams would be. But since we've gone to four classes, you get some of this. Listen, and again, I'm not bitter, but I had a couple teams go to the state tournament. I'd have loved to play McMinn County and Sevier County in the first round. Beats Raleigh, Egypt. It beats Raleigh, Egypt, and Bearden twice. Come on, man.
Hey, man. Yeah. You know what Sevier County's?
Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Sevier County and the Smoky Bears.
I mean, there's some teams, though, that we've seen. So those teams are in there.
Of course.
But come on, man.
I'm with you, man. Blackman doesn't do well against Wilco teams in the state tournament either.
Coach Wortman, not to bring up any, and I know you're not watching this, but just in case, undefeated one year. And what happened? Dennis King and Brentwood said, bye-bye, see you later, move
One of my
on.
all-time favorite state tournament memories from one of my all-time favorite coaches, Dennis King and Brentwood. Blackman's undefeated.
He had a wristband on, too, I think.
He had a football, that's called a wrist coach. Okay. He had a wrist coach on a button down, right?
With a tie on.
With a tie on. And I don't know if you remember, he forgot his belt in Brentwood. And let's just say his pants were having a hard time. And so the whole game, like Tommy Boy, he's pulling his pants up, looking at that, coaching his tail off.
Literally.
You remember who hit the three?
Was it Teichman?
Asa Duval.
Oh, that's right, Asa Duval. That's right.
God, that was a great game. So, anyways, yeah. There you go. That's my tot of the week, my nugget.
Let's talk a little 2A basketball. Congratulations again to Coach McCoy and his squad. 59-51, they go on the road to Gibson County. They had lost the region final to Giles, 61-41 at home. They had won the district. Region finals, they lose at home, so now they've got to go on the road, which is tough.
Yep.
You go to one of these small rural communities. I mean, look, we talk about Fairview. That's not rural compared to, like, Gibson. It's a little different.
Right.
A little different setup. So you
Gibson
go.
County doesn't have a super Walmart.
That's correct. Into the first quarter, they're up 12-4. It's looking great. But then all of a sudden, they're down 27-19 at the half, talking Fairview. Down 37-34 entering the fourth quarter. They're on the road. It's not looking great. But they have a great fourth quarter. They end up with a 59-51 win. And what I'm so excited about for them, obviously, when Mays McCoy goes down, it hurts. It hurts with who you have left to play. It hurts mentally, all those things. But what did they do? Pulled up the bootstraps and said, this is what we got to do. Mays has done a good job being engaged in the game, helping with the scouting, reminding the players of what they have to do. He's still got a great role because he's a leader, and they step up and make the state tournament. I couldn't be more thrilled for Coach McCoy in Fairview.
Yeah, it's a huge win. It's a huge accomplishment to make it there, first time in school history. So there'll never be another first. It's done. And the other thing, too, is with Mays, getting not only losing a player of his caliber and a leader of his caliber, but so late in the season, right? So everything had been building to where this is what kind of a team we are, and you take him out and it changes drastically. So you're right. I think what they've done has made it even more impressive. I think matchups, which it sounds corny, but it's true, matchups in the sectionals are so important. I think the best thing in the world, I think Coach McCoy would tell you the same thing. I know that's what he sold to his team. Now maybe that's just what he was selling, but I think losing to Giles County and going on the road to Gibson County was the best thing that they could have had happen to him. and then to come back the way they did. You mentioned, is anybody playing better than Tylen Lewis? All right. Well, I would say you go down and 2A, is anybody playing better than Nathan Dillingham?
How about those stats in that
That's
game?
pretty strong, man. 23 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. And they had to know.
Have you a game, Nathan?
Have you a game? Jack Estes with 10, Jax McCoy with 9.
The freshman.
The freshman. John Sawyer. This is what we've gotten used to. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Kind of DeWitt-esque.
Yeah.
You got to have those guys.
Yeah, he's tough. He is. And, to lose to Giles, like you talked about, and I know the game got a little bit more out of hand at the end, but they lost by 20. But for them to re-engage and say, hey, district expected, I think is what Coach said, region, we're happy. But it's always been about making the state. And that's so cool because I know, he's had this vision and they openly talk about it. Hey, we want to go to the state tournament. We want to. And now for them to do it, I think the trick for them is going to be, and the good thing with the boys tournament, it's kind of a bummer to take off that long, but you can celebrate it a little bit. And then, okay, let's refocus, get back on it. So I think for them, they've talked so many times about going that first time you go, maybe you're like, oh, we're here and we're happy, but they'll get it back lined up. If you look at their bracket, Alcoa and Pearl Cone, not East Nashville because East got bounced by Pearl Cone, Brainerd and Fairview, so that's the top half. Bottom half, you got Douglas with 2 S's, York Institute, Giles County Power Center. I know nothing about most of those teams, but I'm just going to say this. I think it's Giles County in the finals, and I'll tell you this. The winner of Fairview Brainerd makes the final. That's what I think.
I like that. Let's just go down to that bottom half. I can tell you right now.
Is that Douglas?
After our man Frederick. I can tell you this. What did Charles Barkley say? I don't know anything about Angola other than Angola is in trouble. York Institute is in trouble.
They are.
What do you have? A one-way ticket back to Jamestown. Giles County Power Center. Power Center, man, those things are hard to – that's out of Memphis. That's one of those charters or –
It's like Valor with soccer.
Yeah. So my guess is it's going to be Douglas and Power Center.
Oh. You're not going with Giles.
Nope. That's a football school. And then I think you're right. Winner of Fairview Brainerd is going to go to the state championship. Maybe win it.
I love it. Now that game's that's another early one. Thursday, 11:30, and then Friday would be 4:30.
Okay, another question.
6:30.
Would you rather play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or do you like having the day off?
Day off.
Okay.
Day off.
Well, it is what it is.
Day off. But again, I'd sell whatever. Whatever's available to be sold, I'd be trying. And plus, they're all playing Thursday, so.
Right.
One thing that frustrates me a little bit about the state tournament, and I know it's logistics and all. You do all this, we've made it to the state, and congratulations, and you're playing at 10 in the morning.
Well, think of it.
I mean, what are we, an AAU tournament?
Well, not only that,
Can we not play it? And then the last games will start at like 6, like we're dying to get out of there. Can we not get the building till 10 p.m.?
Exactly. Well, and think about it, man. We've talked about this in football with Chattanooga. Not as big of a deal for our schools, Main thing is they play at night. But I don't know. But my guess is Chattanooga Brainerd. Okay, let's say Power Center. Well, so Power Center is going to have to spend the night. Okay? So I don't think they're going to leave Thursday morning. So they got to spend Wednesday night. If they win Thursday, they got to spend Thursday night.
Right.
If they win Friday, they got to spend Friday night. It's hotel rooms, meals. You don't. I'm not so sure at the Power Center you can just say, "Hey, parents, write me a check." You know, that's tough, man.
And the proceeds are not going to be.
They're not going to cover it.
No.
Doesn't matter. We're looking for Fairview to be playing on Saturday.
Hey, I did want to mention this because I want to make sure we do justice to our other teams.
Yes.
Because last time we met, it was region semifinal time. So on the girls' side, after just an incredible win for Brentwood, 51-48, after being down 18, they had lost 3 times to Hillsboro, at Hillsboro. It's like there's no way you would think they're going to win after losing 3 times and at their place and down 18.
Right.
They fight their way back. They defeat Hillsboro for the first time this year and the first time in like 6 or 7 games. 51-48 to qualify for the sectional. Now they've got Green Hill coming in 16-16. They had split during the season. You're playing at home, and Brentwood comes up just short, 36-33 in a game that was it's kind of an odd feeling game. It almost felt like that Hillsboro game should have been the game to advance. They had a nice crowd, but Green Hill, for whatever reason, you can't convince me when I'm watching that game that they're a 16-16 team. It was a tough matchup for Brentwood. I feel like if they played 10 times, they might split or Brentwood win 6. So I know Brentwood was disappointed, but they've got so many young players. Charlotte Lambright, who played great this year, a senior. Brianna Keating-Rendon, another senior. But they're playing a ton of young people, one junior on the roster. So in terms of minutes played, that squad's coming back. Ella Ryan, Paige Morris, Ava Jarrett. And they had a post player who's pretty darn good that didn't play the whole year.
That's right. They had another one that you don't.
So
if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. Well, it's funny how the Green Hill, they're like that on both sides, the boys and the girls.
I'm tired of Green Hill already.
That's right. Me too. They were going to do it the same way, and I think I'm with you. I think if they play again, it's probably if they play 10 times, it's probably 50-50, maybe more Brentwood. But they wanted to slow it down. They did. That's not really how Brentwood plays. If Brentwood had have made it, which was the goal, I think it would have been a year early. This team's really set up to make that run next year. So to get this far, and like you said, overcoming go back just a couple of days earlier. If 2 or 3 plays in the Hillsboro game, you're not even playing this game. So,
but also going to Cookville would have been a disaster. I mean, they just
didn't want to go there.
When I saw the score, they were beating Hillsboro 43-13 at the half. I was like, ugh.
You didn't want to go there.
That might have been a rough trip. Savannah Kirby.
You know that. Women's basketball up on the plateau.
Right.
A little bit different.
It is. And be glad Upperman's not in 4A.
Correct.
Savannah Kirby hit that, it's like a step back kind of three. He's only 3 points of the game. Brentwood had that lead early, and it was 20-10, and you felt like if the game ever got sped up, Brentwood would roll. But the opposite happened. Once it got sped up, 16-0 run for Green Hill, and now all of a sudden Brentwood's playing from behind, and Green Hill starts slowing it down, but Brentwood hung in there. They tied that game. I just felt like if that thing would have gone to overtime, that Brentwood would have prevailed. And Ella Ryan, what she did in that game and the region final, and that region final, she had like 22 points in the second half. Right. What I love about her, and I like the confidence that Coach Williams gives her, she's not worried about missing one.
No, she's a shooter.
It's like, look, hey, if I miss 4 in a row, that means I'm getting ready to make 2 or 3 in a row.
She would have loved playing for you.
Yeah, I'd like to coach her
Ella,
too.
you a shooter?
Yeah.
Why aren't you shooting?
Yeah. Let me introduce the team to Ella. Get her the ball.
What does Wild say? There's a reason why bad shooters are open.
Right, let's don't encourage them.
Hey, by the way, back to the region championship, 51-48 victory over Hillsboro. You mentioned all that. I got to give credit where credit is due. Got on the WAKM website, listened to our buddy Charles Pulliam and you doing the game. Y'all did a great job. It was very enjoyable to listen to.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I've had the opportunity to do a couple games with Joe and Charles, and I know Jay Johnson has stepped in to help, so it was a lot of fun. Appreciate you mentioning that.
It was fun.
Let's talk with our boys team, too. Did want to mention, again, don't want to take anything away from how great a game this was. Independence boys, as the number 2 seed, beat number 1 in the AP poll, so 1 playing 2 in the region final, 54-50. Independence had defeated Nolensville 63-32 in the semis. Great season for Coach Gadice. Again, seems like a year early. Next year, they're going to really be able to build on this. And then Hillsboro beating a scrappy Ravenwood team 61-53. Just a great job all season long by Coach Whitlock and that crew. And listen, they've got a ton of people coming back. A couple of seniors that played some big minutes. Shelby, Ethan Myers, Will Brent. But other than that, and that's 3 good players, but Lamuno's back, Gainer's back, Kemple. I mean, they've got some people back who can play. So don't worry, Ravenwood. You will be one of the teams that will be saying, no pressure, but we expect you to finish in the top 1 or 2 teams.
Yes, and we're going to put pressure on them come that time.
So now coach has got to sell a different thing. Like, I don't listen to the rat poison. It'll be rat poison next year, won't it?
Have you ever met a guy that loves talking to the media yet hates the media as much as that guy?
Who, Coach Whitlock?
No, Coach Saban.
Coach.
No, Coach Whitlock's a character.
It's listen, for Coach Saban, it's fake. I think
fake.
he loves it.
He loves talking to the
He's
media,
great.
but he wants to. He would have been a great Vince McMahon pro wrestler. Hey, I think this is important because I don't think we talked about it last week. All tournament team, you good with me?
Oh, we didn't because it hadn't happened yet. Go ahead.
Jaden Clark of Nolansville had Ravenwood with Rocco Lamuno had 15. Jaden had 15. Ravenwood was led with Rocco by 13. Brent Shelby 12. Evan Gaynor 11, and Ethan Myers was on the all tournament team as well.
Which was great.
Yep.
I'll tell you somebody else. You're talking about Coach Ladd and his squad. They're coming due.
Yes. It doesn't sound right because Independence is here and going to the state tournament. But it looked to me like the goal is to be playing to get better as the season goes on, to keep getting better. I think Coach Gadice's squad at Nolansville, as well as anybody, it didn't start off real pretty, right? But they kept getting better.
It got prettier.
They kept taking steps forward. And by the end of the year, they were playing really, really
He's got a
well.
great mentality, too. He and Coach Ladd may be
You're not going to rattle.
They're pretty
the
even
laddie
keel.
daddy. He's calm, cool,
He
and
is.
collected.
He is.
And you mentioned Josh Owen earlier. I see it again there in the Hillsborough game, taking a charge, man. We talked about him last week. You got to have guys like that.
Tylen Lewis, MVP of the region tournament.
That's right. And he got that with Jet scoring 25 points in that region championship game. But I go, you got to have, obviously, those really good players. I go to battle with Josh Owens anytime.
Well,
I want him on my team.
You're not going deep if you don't have those guys.
Yeah.
Understand their role, do the things that some other people don't want to do.
He'll play a big role in the Blackman game.
No question. Tate, looking forward to the state tournament. I know we'll have great follow, even though it's spring break. For those hanging back, make sure you go out and support those teams.
Without a doubt. It's a big deal. They need your support.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.